look. I swear this jacket looked better on in the mirror than it does sitting in the car. Okay, I want to talk about content is changing. I feel like I try to be a little bit of a step ahead, and that's gonna actually make sense in a second. Step ahead. Oh, there's a police officer right there. I don't want to get in trouble. I feel like I try to be a step ahead as far, I pay attention, okay? I pay attention. And I think that we're shifting more towards, natural content, like honest conversation, mess ups, bloopers, it all stays. There's no editing. Free flow content. I think that's probably closer to where we're moving. I think the days of the super edited conversation is coming to a close. I think, like, I'm seeing so many people now doing like the DLSR with, you know, the captions and the bleep bloop 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 sounds and the, you know what I'm talking about. And I think that that's coming to a close, because literally when everyone starts doing the same thing, do something else. That's like my big rule of thumb. So, and I always like struggle with, okay, what's next? Well, if you really pay attention to major content creators, like, for example, and you could like them or not, I don't care. I'm impartial. Kylie Jenner, perfect example. So now when she's doing, if you go watch her TikToks, and TikTok's leading the way in a lot of this. If you go watch her TikToks, like, you'll see she'll put her phone up and it'll drop and she'll pick it back up and then she'll be doing her ad for whatever she's, you know, pitching. And I don't think that's by mistake. Like, those are things that in the past we would edit out and make a perfect post, right? She gets it. You're catching people by your mistakes, and you're being more real. People want more real. I think that's what it really comes down to, is being more genuine. So I think I see more people doing that kind of content. Like one of the realtors that I worked with, and she's fantastic. She actually just did something super humbling in her story. I have to shout her out, Christina Chipman. She had this amazing. She did this amazing 30 days of gratitude, and she was always showing all these wonderful things. But then she took a moment and she showed a mess up that she had during the day, and it was so like refreshing. You know what I mean? It's so like my life's not perfect. Everything's not perfect all the time, you know? And I thought it was so cool. It was a great post. So I think we're leaning more into that humbling content. People want humble, and that's what it exuded to me. It was awesome. So yeah, follow her on Instagram, by the way, Christina Chipman. She's awesome. So I thought that was super cool. And I think it's just we're shifting more towards, I've been practicing a little bit, well, quite a while, forever. I try out all the platforms. I work on all the platforms. I want to see, not only do I want to be able to take the temperature of the room, because you can take the temperature of the room on other platforms easier. And I'll tell you right now, Twitter is where you really want to take the temperature of the room, because they're going to tell you how it is straight up. And a lot of times in these YouTube comments, TikTok as well. You're not going to get it as much on Instagram and Facebook. That's more of a happy, pretty place where everybody's going to tell you what you want to hear and how you want to hear it, because Zuckerberg's actually done a really good job of putting a face to a name. I think Elon's trying to do that with Twitter right now. He's moving in that direction where there's a little more accountability. It's more like being in a crowded elevator than being in an elevator by yourself. That's how I get it. So on Instagram and Twitter, Instagram and Facebook, you're in that crowded elevator. Everybody's looking at you. Everybody, for the most part, knows each other, unless you're on like in the comments on Shade Room or something. You know what I mean? It's pretty honest, and you're not going to get as much trolling on there. Where it's more anonymous on other places, you can't figure out who's what's from where, and they will rip you. So like before, when I was doing content about solutions for buyers and things like that, I was getting terrible feedback. Like I was getting, typical real estate agent, rah, 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 rah. And as soon as I started being honest with people and telling them what's going on in the market and cut out the bullshit, it was completely different, and people respected it more. People appreciated it more. So especially on those platforms, like I got a little more pushback on the Instagram and the Facebook with that, but I think that's mostly from like people who were putting out people who didn't take the temperature of the room. So and that's okay. It's like it's I take criticism from everywhere and I appreciate it, and my eyes are going blind from the sun. So I take everything to account because I like to take the temperature of how people are feeling and where and what to put where and what not to put, and it's a process. But I'm always fine tuning, and I'm trying to use these platforms in the right way always, But yeah, and predominantly, just a little bit about me, my business, I created right out the gate, I started using Instagram because I'm from South Florida. I didn't have a big sphere of influence in Las Vegas when I started doing real estate here. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to pound social media. And I started on Instagram, and I built my account up like nobody's business. And I got a ton of leads from it, and I've closed a lot of deals, and it's been really fruitful for me. So at the beginning of this year, I started noticing a shift on Instagram, and I didn't like it. I wasn't getting as many leads. That's why I didn't like it. I wasn't getting as many leads. It was frustrating. I was frustrated. I met with my title rep, Christy Carrasco. She's amazing. She's helped me so much. So she got me on here. She's like, go put yourself on YouTube, and it's working. She was absolutely right. I was like frustrated. I was trying to figure out, okay, what do I need to do different? Because Instagram became this haven for realtors all doing the same bit. Everybody was doing the same thing. So I'm like, okay, what am I doing here? You know what I mean? I gotta change it up. So as far as Instagram goes, I've been really using stories more, because I found that that's where most of my reels are great, and I throw the reels up still, but I get more engagement through my stories. So I'm always putting good content in my stories and things that like attract conversation, whether it's good or bad. And so, I knew I needed to venture out on other platforms and see what else was out there. I'm finding Twitter to be, although it is completely tough, I'm getting leads from there. I'm getting leads from YouTube. I'm shifting it to other platforms, and it's working out. And this is, if anybody else is watching this who's in real estate, I'm free game. I'm helping you. But yeah, I think we're shifting. I think we're shifting towards more honest content, and I'm all for it. I like it. I'm okay with like messing up on camera, and I don't really care. So I don't need it to be perfect. So it works out good for me. And I like having a conversation. I like talking. And I'm always open to conversation. I'm always open to, people comment a lot, and I'll address it, and I want to talk about it. And it gives me more ideas of conversation. So yeah, so that's about it. I just wanted to talk about the shifts in social media, and it's really interesting, especially for realtors, because it's like everybody's doing the same thing on Instagram. Facebook's another one. I didn't even get into that. If you can get a following on Facebook, I was never able to. I was never really good at Facebook. I just didn't, I don't know, it didn't fit for me. But I see people on there who like really have amazing engagement on there. And if you're getting engagement on Facebook like that, that's like applauds to you, because that's awesome. Like, because that's where your core is really going to be, like, family and friends and network, and it's great. So I really need to, I need to work on Facebook more. I'm not as good. I like to be thrown in with the wolves. I like to be thrown in with the wolves, where everybody's going to drag and talk smack and tell you how it, I don't know why. It's a glutton for punishment, I guess. So anyway, I'm going to let you go. Have an amazing week. We'll get back and talk soon, and I love you all.